Welcome back to the podcast, From the Depths of Darkness to the Light of Success, everyone. I am your host, Chris Swick, and on this podcast, we talk about mental health, addictions, and ADHD, eating disorders, mental illnesses, and really anything anyone is afraid to talk about at the end of the day. We are here to talk about it and break the barriers around stigmas around anything. Let's make people afraid to not talk about these issues in the world today. On this platform, I believe everyone's story is valuable at the end of the day. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. You're all welcome on my platform here. You can check out the show over on YouTube, full video format for each episode. Please head over to that podcast page on YouTube, though, From the Depths of Darkness to the Light of Success. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so you can be up to date with each and every episode. So many great episodes, valuable and action-packed. So much great content over there. We can learn from all the great guests that have been on this show in the past. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, everyone. And this is my first solo episode. That's right, you heard it. You got a solo episode today with your own host, Chris Swick. Today, I got an unofficial sponsor, that is. I really enjoy. I'm clean and sober, as most of you have been since November 19th, 2021. That is when my life really took a change for the better. It took a long time going through the dope sickness and all those withdrawals. But I must say kudos to my amazing fiance, Megan McCormick, also the owner of McCormick Photography. She is an amazing boss babe. Without that woman, I would not be where I am today. She has held my hand through thick and thin and pushed me to be the best version of myself. I just want to reach out to you, Megan, and say thank you. I am super grateful for you, and I want everyone to know that. And I want everyone to know, never take your partner or anyone in life for granted, because tomorrow they may be gone. Make sure you tell your loved ones, family, friends that you love them. Reach out to everyone. I have made it a point to reach out to 3 different people every day. Sometimes it's the same 3 people, but I try to do different people, whether it's on social media, wherever it is, send a text if I have their phone number, send a little video message. It's uplifting just to get that message. And you never know how you're going to make someone feel. I can't believe I'm doing my first solo episode, though. And it's been a long time coming. Back last year in 2021, I said I was going to do one in the fall. Never got around to it. Life just gets crazy and hectic, especially with someone like myself that has ADHD. But we got my first unofficial sponsor. I'm in recovery, but for all y'all out there who love to enjoy beer still, non-alcoholic ones at that, go pick up a case of Partake today at your local grocery stores. Go over to their website or Google them, Partake. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you can find them. They're all over the place. Hop on their shop online and order yourself a case of Partake. You will not be disappointed. I enjoy that I'm able to partake in everything again. Not that I wasn't before, but I enjoy the taste of beer still in a non-alcoholic manner. And this Partake ale is one of my favorites. They also have a peach ghost out there. Let's crack this open and get the show started, everyone. So back in the fall, I had asked everyone to send some questions, they had about myself or whatever for this first solo episode. And here we are today in February 2022, 11 months from my wedding too. Amazing time of the year, everyone. It's a little slow for me through other areas of my life. I'm trying to build other areas of my life up. So let's break into these questions, though. So I had someone ask, how did your recovery lead to podcasting? Back at the beginning of the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, it's a pandemic, but I want to just try and forget about these last 2 years in a sense, although it has helped me grow. But I started a new career in car sales, and that sort of took a turn for the worst with the pandemic, with everything closing down. I was a low guy in the totem pole, so they let me go. A-okay, but me and my ADHD brain always have to be doing something. So I told a good friend of mine and a former guest on the show, John Maxim, amazing musician. So go over and check him out too. Hit up John Maxim Music over on Instagram and wherever else you can find him, Spotify, Apple. Download that album. Head over to his merch store, pick up a t-shirt, an album. He has a new CD out too, so check that out, everyone. But yeah, how did my recovery lead to podcasting? I always knew I wanted to help others. That was my purpose in life, was to start helping others. So I thought no better way with the pandemic and bringing this world to the halt. Why not start a podcast? Had no clue what the hell I was doing though, so I started networking, reaching out to friends like my friend I just mentioned, John Maxim, talking to other people around. No clue what equipment I needed to use. So I'll be honest. And I didn't have much money at the time either. So I started a GoFundMe. It was either do a GoFundMe or ask, let's say, 10 people to borrow $50 off them and pay it back. I said, you know what? Even with my past and recovery, and not lots of people could trust me at the time either. I knew that for a fact with all the bridges I'd burned. I started this GoFundMe. I treaded the waters lightly though, hoping for the best. I got a real good turnout though on the GoFundMe. Made enough to get myself a microphone, live streaming camera, and a few other things that I needed for to start the podcast. And away I went. I had no clue what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. The name for my show though came right away. I was like, from the depths of darkness to the light of success. With all the dark times I'd been through, I had started to see the light of success through a different lens at this time, being early on in recovery, and knew that this was my calling to help others with a show, interviewing others. Not just around, I was originally going to be around recovery and a little bit of mental health and stuff like that. But I thought, you know what? Everyone's story is valuable at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. We all have a story, and we should share our truths and our story with everyone. So I said, I'm doing an interview show. I started reaching out to close people that I actually knew at first, started booking times with it, getting people on the show, getting things set up. And May 18th, 2020, my first episode was released. I'll never forget the day, the feedback I was getting. It was going slow and stuff like that. But then it really started to pick up. Around the end of 2020, I was releasing 2 episodes a week, recording up to 3 to 4 episodes a week. I really recommend to anyone starting into podcasting to batch record. So at least have 4 or 5 episodes ready just to launch and be ready to go. Don't go into the gunfight empty-handed really at the end of the day. Have the barrel or that chamber loaded, locked and loaded, and then you're ahead of the game. So that's how my recovery led to the podcasting at the end of the day, to answer your question there. So at what point, now here's the next question. At what point in your recovery did you decide to be a mental health advocate? How and why? It wasn't until, after I started doing more and more in my recovery that I really decided, you know what? I need to advocate for the people that have no voice, the voiceless, and be a voice. I have a very loud voice, as you guys all know, for the people that know me. I'm very outspoken. I'm passionate about what I do. So I thought, why the hell not start my platform about mental health and start speaking out about it a little more, talking a little bit about my story. And then it just blossomed from there. So that's how I became a mental health advocate and started growing my following on Instagram. It didn't happen overnight, but I started sharing my story tidbit by tidbit. But you got to keep a little bit to yourself. Don't share it all. Keep those close and sacred memories. You got to keep them behind closed doors. Some of them, not everything, but some of it. The things that you don't want to share, I suggest writing it down on paper so you get it out there. Write your feelings out. So that's how I started becoming a mental health advocate, researching what others were doing, seeing what others were doing in the realm, and just took little spin-offs of what they were doing and started, creating my own content, creating my own things, my own posts, speaking my own truths. And it just, feels so liberating to get that shit off your chest. So don't go home hurting, I suggest. Talk to someone who cares and share your truth. I can't, fathom that enough. I can't stress that enough. Sorry, not fathom that. That's not the right word. Dummy, Chris. So, what impacted my recovery the most is the next question. What impacted my recovery? This time around, what impacted my recovery the most was, knowing back November 19th, 2020, or sorry, 2019, at that point, I was at my lowest. I basically was on the verge of losing everything in my life, including my lovely fiance, Megan, my kids. I had already lost my car. I'd basically lost my job. I didn't give a shit about nothing. I was at my wit's end. At that point, I didn't even feel like living. And then that day sparked in me. I was like, I got to get my shit together. And that day, I just started sharing my truths, sharing what's happened to me in my life. I shared some really deep buried shit with Megan and my brother a couple days after November 19th, 2019, that changed my life forever, lifted a weight off my chest, and it just started blossoming from there. Today, I'm still working on my ego. I'm working on being selfless, but I still can be very selfish, especially in this recovery. As an addict, most addicts can attest to this, but I can only speak for myself that I was a very selfish human being. And I still am today. And I will gladly admit that wholeheartedly and openly. I need to start being more selfless and not let my ego get so inflated like it does some days. You can't let, certain things get to your head and let your head blow up like this big. You got to simmer it down and have humility. Humility is what I'm working on. I am no guru at it. I'm still down here working on my humility. I still need to learn to fucking bring it back down to earth. And that's why I'm so grateful for my amazing fiance, because she reels me right in a fishing rod. When you have a fish in the river, she reels me back in very quick and knocks me back down to earth, calling me out of my bullshit. And you need someone like that in your life to call you on your bullshit. So again, Megan, I'm super grateful for you for that. How do I stay so positive is the next question that was asked. First of all, for the longest time, it was a lot of toxic positivity. I was just trying to compensate for all my feelings, all my insecurities, that it was a lot of toxic positivity, to be quite honest. I'm going to be straight out and honest. It took a long time for me to get to a point where I am. You got to learn to not compensate for your insecurities, for your traumas and stuff. And I think I was doing that for a long time. But once you start working through those things in life that had hurt you, your past and stuff like that, you can look through life in a more positive light. Not everything has to be negative. You got to learn how to turn those negatives into a positive, but in a positive way, though, too. So in the beginning, I was being positive, but in a negative way with lots of toxic positivity. I'll be straight out and honest. Work on yourselves, but don't be a lot of toxic positivity. Don't compensate for the hurt you're going through. Work through those feelings, through those traumas, everyone. I really recommend that a lot. Dig deep down in that gut to figure out what the hell is going on in your mind and why you're feeling the way you are. There's always something and a reason that you're feeling the way you are. So dig deep and find that feeling. It's okay to feel those feelings today. For so long with drugs and alcohol, I numbed my pains. I couldn't even feel any feelings. I was like a walking robot, basically, in life, just getting by day to day. If I didn't have dope in my system or anything, it was a bad day. I was going to have a bad day because I was so sick. But at the end of it, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, as the old saying is. Next question I got here, though, asked from another fellow podcaster. When did you know you were at the bottom? Or when did I hit my rock bottom? I had hit many rock bottoms, but it took the last time. I'm not going to go into full details just to respect everyone's wishes, but again, I mentioned it a little earlier. I was basically on the verge of, losing my relationship, losing my kids, and I didn't want that anymore. I was sick of having to have visits the way they were, not being able to see my kids. So it was time to ship up or shape out. Basically, at the end of it, it was jails, institutions, or death for me. And I didn't want any of those three. So I had to make some drastic changes and make them fast. I started getting to meetings, started talking to other people in recovery. I changed my phone number that I had for 20 plus years. That was the first step. And then admitting that I had a problem was the next step there. That's the first step in the 12-step program. And I personally, I'll be honest, I don't really go to the 12 steps and stuff like that. It's not for everyone. There's no linear path for recovery. Everyone's recovery journey is different. There's, not a one size fits all for recovery. I want you all to know that. I'm no doctor either. So anything I share on here is from my personal experience. And I want to make you guys quite aware of that as well. Yeah, there's no linear path in recovery. It's not a one size fits all, as I just said. But my bottom was when I knew when I seen that I had ruined and caused so many train wrecks, and I just didn't want to feel the way I did. I didn't want to lose everything that I had worked for so hard again and start over from scratch. So I needed to make that decision that I had enough. I hope that answers your question. Another question I have here. Do I still have hard days battling my addictions and my demons? You're right, I fucking do. Every day isn't easy in a walk in the park. And don't think it is because it's not. And if someone tells you it's, super easy and they've overcome everything, they're bullshitting you. Because I have my bad days, I have my good days. I'm starting to have more good days than bad days, but there's so much to work on. Every day I try to become 1% better, as that old quote is. I forget who said it, but it's a great quote. Just try to be 1% better than the day before, and you'll achieve and succeed in so many areas of your life. So, to answer your question, yes, I do have hard days. I do have thoughts of using. Do I act on them? No. I write those things down or I talk some positive affirmations to myself saying, no, Chris, you can't do that. You have to remember how far you've come. You've come way too far to go back out and be into that lifestyle. So I had to start changing my people, places, and things. That is key. Hear that again, guys? People, places, and things. If you want things to change, you have to change those three. And I'm dead serious. Until you change those three, you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Nah, you ain't going to get it if you keep doing the same thing over and over again. So make sure you change those people, places, and things. What inspired me to make changes? I wanted to make changes in the mental health realm. I wanted to do those types of things because I seen that there were so many people out there struggling. So I thought having this podcast, interviewing people about their struggles, the darknesses that they were in at one point in time, and getting out into the light of success, succeeding, becoming successful from their demons, battling their demons and overcoming them. It's just amazing to see the change that I've seen in myself over the last 2 years, especially creating this podcast. It's therapy for me. And I hope I can just help one person with each episode. If I help one person, and I'm not boasting myself here, but I know I help at least one person per episode because I have people that reach out all the time just saying that episode or that particular person, that particular part of the episode helped them or helped, them understand why their loved one is the way they are and doing the things they're doing. I just want to see people blossom in life. And the things I know about, we need more funding for from the governments and other things behind the scenes on mental health and addictions. There's a huge epidemic out there. We need the help. So we can create these spaces, us as content creators and mental health advocates, addictions advocates, and creating awareness around all these things. We just need to keep being the voice for the voiceless. So that's why I love making change out here. And I hope I can help one person with each episode, with each message I spread and each message I share. So please, before I go any further, head over to that Instagram page of the podcast as well. You can find all my personal life on there. I share everything. And head over to mine and couples page, The McSwicks, over on Instagram as well. Hit that follow button. Check out what we're doing. We share silly stuff, personal things, raw and unedited. We share right from the heart on that page and on our personal pages. Head over to her page too, at Megs McCormick on Instagram. Check her out. Check her photography page out too, at McCormick Photography. You will not want to miss this amazing work. If you're looking in the southwestern Ontario and your list want timeless pieces of art created for your wall, she does it all. Go check her out. Watch what an amazing artist she is. Has a keen eye for everything she's doing with that camera. She's amazing behind the lens. She's been doing it since about grade 3. I remember her telling me stories about bringing disposable cameras to school and taking pictures of everyone. Little thing that I bet you not everyone knows, now you do. Sorry for the little ad break. First solo episode, and I'm loving doing this now. I'm gonna be doing so many more of these. So you guys, stay tuned for many more. Got another question here. What made you get into podcasting? I answered this a little bit at the beginning of this episode, but what really got me into it was I just enjoy chatting with people. As many people know from my personal life and that have got to know me on my platform on Instagram. If you're listening, Blue is beautiful. Huge shout out the Mental Corner podcast, 20 Timmy minutes. He knows him, Timmy Tacoma. Check out all these amazing mental health podcasts, the Sticky Eddie podcast, all great people. The Mitchell Report, Rory Mitchell, real prime example, another amazing human being making a big movement out in Calgary. Ryan Phillips, stay tuned for some great things coming up on him too. I've had all these people on my show. There's huge show. There's so many to list, but thank you for all your support. Check out, those are all amazing. Most of them Canadian podcasts, except for Sticky Eddie, but all those other ones, great Canadian podcasts. Support your fellow Canadian podcasters. But the reason I got into podcasting again was because I just love chatting with people. My ADHD, I'm an extrovert. I don't shut the fuck up. And lots of people will attest, but sometimes I got to learn to shut the fuck up and listen. That's why I got into car sales and I listened real quick or learned real quick. Sorry. They got to shut up and listen. Sorry, I got a little dry mouth here. I got to take a sip of this great Partake non-alcoholic beer. Ale is great. Mr. Fleming, who's the CEO of Partake, had him on my show. Go check out that episode way back when. Great tasting. Taste the hops in this thing. And the best thing is, you don't wake up with a hangover. Get your Partake today from their store or head over to your local grocery store. It's in many grocery stores, Loblaws across Canada, and plenty more. Check them out. So do you still get urges? And if so, what's your best strategy in dealing with them? They're talking about urges for drugs. So the best strategy I've come up with are many different ones. One of mine is I try to tell someone, I'm getting better at communication. Communication is huge for me. I was the worst communicator and I'm still not the greatest. I'll admit that. And Megan can attest to that too. I got to get better at communicating, especially with my loved ones, communicating my feelings and not letting them bottle up. Get rid of those urges. I just talk to myself. I don't need to go back to that lifestyle, or I'll write things down once in a while, or make little notes in my phone, or read something to keep my mind off it. I still do. I have that bad habit of smoking cigarettes that I got to get rid of. So sometimes I'll have a smoke, but it's not really the right thing to do. I'm just killing myself slowly. Killing myself slowly. I'm the best singer too, the Fugees. But anyways, so yeah, talk to someone to get rid of your urges. Make sure you reach out to someone in your support network. That's why they told me in the beginning, get phone numbers, get a support network. Reach out to those people that are in your support network. And if there's no one around, send them a text, write it down in the notepad in your phone. We all got so many resources we can use. So reach out to someone on social media that you can have as a confidant, that you can trust and talk to and help you through your sticky situation. Reach out to a family member, your mom, your dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle. Let someone know that you're having these urges. So that's one suggestion I can make, or many suggestions to help with your urges if you have them creep up and stuff like that. And you will have them creep up from time to time. I've heard of some people say in the recovery rooms and stuff, I have another relapse in me, but I don't have another recovery in me. And that's the same for me. I really don't have another recovery in me. If I go back out, I'm not coming back. And I'll be straight up and honest. I've been at this for I was at it for way too long. So grateful to be where I am today. Because if it wasn't, for getting off the train, getting clean and sober, I wouldn't be doing this podcast with you. I would tell you that. I wouldn't even suit up and show up any day. I couldn't trust myself. Today I can suit up and show up and be there for my audience. show up for my guests. One last question though. What was the point you realized you had a problem, and what was the first step you took to overcome it? So I've answered this a little bit through earlier in this episode, but I knew I had a problem when I couldn't even get through a day or go through a day without having to do drugs. Doing drugs on my job, especially some of my jobs that required me to be very attentive, I was very unsafe in lots of the practices. I was doing these drugs, and not light drugs either. I'm not talking marijuana. I'm talking lots of other drugs that I shouldn't have been operating the vehicles or the equipment I was operating, but I was living life recklessly. I could have killed someone. You know, I'm super grateful I didn't, but I don't know how to put this. I'm grateful I didn't kill anyone with the recklessness that I was doing, if that's even a word. Go look up recklessness. It's probably in the Urban Dictionary. I'm super grateful I didn't kill anyone, but I do have a lot of shame and, guilt around the things I did do. So those are things I'm still working on today. It's going to take a long time to unwrap all that shame and guilt that I have around the stuff I did to people. I'm making living amends still. And the first step, again, is to admit that I had a problem. No one else can force you to do anything. You yourself have to admit you have a problem, and then you can ask for help. Asking for help in whatever way it is, getting down on your knees and looking up to the skies, to your higher power, whoever you believe in, and just asking for help, reaching out for help, telling someone that you need help. We've come to the end of my first solo episode. I really hope you all enjoyed it. You took something away from it. I hope to do more. Let me know. Send me a voice note over an Anchor FM. Hit the subscribe button, follow button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Head over to the Instagram page, everyone. YouTube again, from the depths of darkness to the light of success. If there's anything you could have taken away from that today, it is to live one day at a time. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I look forward to bringing you my next solo episode in the very near future. Take care, everyone.